Hello viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is MD Saiful Islam and assistant teacher of our High School of Nogal district of Bangladesh, and you are most welcome in my second English Academy again. Let's hope that you are very fine by the grace of Almighty Allah and watched my previous classes smartly. With the reference of my previous classes, my dear learners, today's class I have been present in front of you with a new class named Roles of Changing Faces Narration, rule number 6, my dear learners. But before starting today's class, I want to review my previous classes. In my previous classes, we were told about narration of various kinds of sentence, such as narration of assertive sentence, narration of interrogative sentence, narration of imperative sentence, narration of objective sentence, narration of explanatory sentence, and some rules of changing phrases narration. That means rule number one, rule number two, rule number three, rule number four, and rule number five. And with the reference of my previous class, today's class, I've been present in front of you with a new argumentary class, my dear learners. So, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. At first, I'm trying to show you rule number 6. The precondition of rule number 6 is that, my dear learners, if any reported trace of a passage narration is started with thank you. You will have to follow the notes below. Okay, my dear, let's take a look at the board and try to understand. The shortly note of this rule is that, my dear learners, at first you'll have to write subject of reporting verb. Secondly, you'll have to write thanked instead of statue of reporting verb. And thirdly, you'll have to write object of reporting verb. And finally, ended with the notes of full stop of the job. You have understood clearly. My dear learners, the main precondition of rule number 6 is that if any reported speech of a passage narration is started with thank you, thank you, you will have to follow the note below. The note is that, my dear learners, at first you'll have to write the subject of reporting verb. Secondly, you'll have to write thanks, and thirdly, you'll have to use object of reporting verb, and finally, ended with the notes of full stop. Of that, you have understood clearly. Now, my dear learners, I'm trying to show you some examples with the reference of this rule. So, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. Raisha said to Abdullah, thank you. Okay, mirror DNS, take a look at the board and try to understand. So, before changing this narration from direct to indirect, at first you have to be sure about speaker of this narration and listener of this narration. And so, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. You are told that, my dear learners, subject of reporting verb is called the speaker, Object of reporting verb is called the listener. And now try to follow the structure. This reported speech of this passage narration is started. Thank you. So, my dear learners, take a look at the book and try to understand. At first, you'll have to write subject of reporting verb. Then, secondly, we'll have to use thanked instead of statue of reporting verb. Then, object of reporting verb. Abdullah. Hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, next example, the boy said to the teacher, "Thank you, sir." Okay, my dear learners, try to solve yourself. My dear learners, and subject of this reporting verb is that, my dear learners, the boy. Okay, let's take a look at the board and try to understand. In my previous classes, you were told if any direct narration has sir or madam, you have to use respect for them instead of sir or like a madam. After reporting the subject of reporting her, so you had better here respectfully, respectfully. Then thanked instead of set of reporting verb, then object, here object the teacher. That you have understood clearly. My dear learners, already we have finished rule number 1, rule number 6, rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3, rule number 4, rule number 5, and rule number 6. Now, my dear learners, I'm trying to show you rule number 7. So, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. The main precognition of rule number 7 is that, my dear learners, if an reform shared phase of a passage narration is started with yes oblique no, you will have to follow the notch villa. Okay, my dear learners, that you have understood clearly. The note is that, my dear learners, yes, no. Okay, my dear learners, if an reported space of passage narration is started with yes, you'll have to follow the structure. At first, you'll have to write subject of reporting verb, then you will have to write replied in the affirmative, replied in the affirmative instead of such of reporting verb, and finally ended with the not so full stop. But my dear learners, if the reported speech of a passage narration is started with no, you have to write subject of reporting verbs, then replied in the negative of statue of reporting verb, then object out, finally lots of full stop. Okay, my dear learners, of that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, the main precondition of rule number 7 is that my dear learners, if an reported space of passage narration is started with yes oblique no, you'll have to follow the note below. You have to follow the note below. The note is that, my dear learners, if the reported space of fascination is started with yes, you'll have to follow the structure. At first, you'll have to write subject of reporting verb. Secondly, my dear learners, you'll have to write declared in the affirmative instead of set of reporting verb. Then object must be deleted. Finally, ended with the notes of full stop. But if an reported space of a fascination is started to no, you'll have to follow the structure. You'll have to write no in subject of reporting verb. Then replied in the negative instead of set of reporting verb. Then object must be out, and finally ended with the notes of full stop. Of that you have understood clearly. Okay, dear learners, now I am trying to show you some example with the reference of this word. My dear learners, so take a look at the word and try to understand. Example number one. Raisha said to Abdullah, will you give me a pen, please? Okay, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. Abdullah said to Raisha. Yes, inverted comma. Thank you. Okay, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. My dear learners, in my previous classes, your child, my dear learners, before changing narration from direct to indirect, you'll have to read the passage again and again. Reading the passage again and again, you'll have to select speaker, listener, and categories of sentences. My dear learners, of that you have understood clearly. Take a look at the board and try to understand. First sentence of this passage is that, my dear learners, Raisha said to Abdullah, will you give me a pen, please? Okay, my dear learners, next sentence of this passage, Abdullah said to Raisha, yes. And third sentence of this passage, thank you, my dear learners. Reading the passage again and again, we came to show that reporting verb of first sentence is that, my dear learners, Raisha said to Abdullah. Raisha said to Abdullah. And among this statement, Raisha is the speaker and Abdullah is the listener, and hence this sentence is started with auxiliary verb and finally ended with the notes of full stop, of course, and interrogative sentence. So, my dear learners, you're told that when you'll be sure about any categories of sentence, you'll have to follow the given structure. So, my dear learners, and step by step, you'll have to change narration of all sentences of this phases. Now, at this moment, I'm trying to solve first sentence of this phases. Try to write, my dear learners, subject of reported space, Raisha, then asked according to the structures of changing narration of interrogative sentence, then object Abdullah, then conjunction if deleting comma inverted comma middle of the statement, then subject of reported space. Of course, you know that, my dear learners, you, of course, second person, and it is said that according to the passage narration, according to the basic rules of passage narration, if subject second person, it must be changed according to object. So, my dear learners, you must be changed according to Abdullah. So, in this case, you had better write here within bracket capital letter of A of the name of Abdullah. Then change verb will must be changed into or then extension give. Middle learners try to follow me, of course, objective form, and try to do rough. Subjective form of me, of course, I, of course, first person, and me must be changed according to subject. Here, subject Raisha, that means she. Try to do rough. Objective form of she, of course, her. Okay, my dear learners. In this case, you had better write her and shortly form of Raisha, capital letter R. Then extension friend. Okay, my dear learners. One thing, it's a notable thing that, my dear learners, in my previous classes, you were told that, my dear learners, if an fascination has placed obliquely, you should write politely after subject of reporting verb. So you will have to write here politely of that you have. So sorry, my dear learners, you will have to write politely after subject of reporting verb. Okay, the learners, first sentence of this passage already. Okay, now think about second sentence. My dear learners, reporting verb of second sentence is Abdullah said to Raisha. So try to follow the structures. At first, subject Abdullah. Then, my dear learners, replied in the affirmative instead of set of reporting verb. So try to write replied in the affirmative, then object must be deleted and finally ended with the notes of full stop. My dear learners, already second sentence of this passage is okay. Now, my dear learners, think about third sentence of this passage. Third sentence of this passage is that, my dear learners, thank you. And try to identify what's the repeating mark of the third sentence of this passage. Thank you. Reading the passage again and again, we can show that, my dear learners, the repeating mark of this third sentence is Raisha said to Abdullah. Raisha said to Abdullah. So we'll have to follow the structure. If any passage answer is started with thank you, we'll have to write subject of reporting verb, then you'll have to write thanked instead of said to of reporting verb, then object of reporting verb Abdullah. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now I'm trying to show you second example. My dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. Example number 2. Inverted commas, may I come in some such Russia? Yes, you may come in, said the teacher. Then, third sentence, thank you, sir. Okay, my dear learners, in this passage has three sentences. In this passage has three sentences. My dear learners, try to understand. Reading the passage again and again, you'll have to find out the speaker, listener, reporting verb, and category of sentences. My dear learners, reading this passage, I can to be sure that, my dear learners, first sentence of this passage is "May I come in, sir?" said Raisha. This first sentence Yes, you may come in, said the teacher. And this sentence, of course, second sentence of this passage. And thank you, sir. Of course, this is the third sentence. This is third sentence. And so, my dear learners, in this phrases, we can to show that, my dear learners, repeating verb of first sentence is that Raisha said to the teacher. Raisha said to the teacher. And repeating a verb of second sentence is, my dear learners, the teacher said to Raisha. And third sentence, reporting verb of third sentence is Raisha said to the teacher. Thank you. Hope that you have understood clearly. Now, my dear learners, try to solve this problem. Sentence number one, sentence number two, and sentence number three, step by step, according to the given structure. Media learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. First example, of course, from an interrogative sentence, and because this sentence is started with auxiliary verb name. Okay, media learners, that is solve yourself according to the structure of changing of narration of an interrogative sentence. At first, subject, Raisha. Look at the board and try to understand. Say, I told that, my dear learners, in my previous classes, if any person has third oblique medium, you have to write respectfully after subject of reporting verb. So you had better here write respectfully, then asked, instead of said to, sorry, instead of said to, then object, here object, the teacher, teacher, then conjunction if, middle of the statement, deleting comma, inverted comma, then change subject. Here subject I, of course, first person, and it must be changed according to the subject of reporting verb Raisa. So in this case, you had better write she, shortly form of the name of Raisa are within bracket. Okay, that's of the two you have understood clearly. Then verb may, must, be changed into might, then come must be changed into go and in. Okay, maintenance of the you have understood clearly. Maintenance, now think about second sentence of this phrase. Second sentence of this phrase is started with yes. And the repeating verb of this sentence is the teacher said to Raisha. So, maintenance, try to follow the structure and try to solve yourself. At first, we'll have to write subject, here subject, the teacher. Then we'll have to write replied in the affirmative instead of said to replied in the affirmative. Okay, my dear learners, instead of said to, if the passage narration is started with yes. But if the passage narration is started with no, you should write replied in the negative. Okay, my dear learners, but take a look at the board and try to understand. So sometimes it is in that each portion of a sentence may be added with yes or no. So, my dear learners, in this stage, you had better write and said that, and said that extra version. Okay, my dear learners, then and try to change subject verb extension. Here subject you, of course, second person, and it must be changed according to object. Object of this sentence is my dear learners, Raisha. So here you should write she, she. Shortly form of the name of Raisha, a capital letter R, within bracket. Then verb may must be changed into might, come must be changed into go, extension in. Hopefully that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, now think about third sentence of this passage. Third sentence of this passage is that, my dear learners, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And try to think deeply. What's repeating verb of this sentence? And reading the passage again and again, we made sure the reporting verb of this sentence is Raisha said to the teacher. Raisha said to the teacher. So try to follow the structure. At first subject, Raisha, then we'll have to write respectfully instead of sir. So then we'll have to write thanked instead of said of reporting verb, then object, the teacher. Hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, I want to summarize today's class. My dear learners, in this class, at first, I'm trying to show you about precondition and structures of changing narration of rule number 6. And in rule number 7, my dear learners, I'm trying to show you about precondition and structures of changing narration. My dear learners, precondition of rule number 6 is that, my dear learners, if an reported space of passage narration is structured, thank you, then in rule number 7, the precondition of rule number 7 was that, my dear learners, some cases may have is oblique no. Then you'll have to follow the structures. My dear learners, in this class, I'm trying to make you understand nicely, but don't know sure I can or not. My dear learners, hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, I don't want to learn in this class, but before finishing today's class, I want to share some information with you, my dear learners. Of course, you know that I'm a new tutor or new teacher in YouTube channel, and I'm trying to use English conversation at the time of my making of various kinds of video classes, though I'm available by birth. So, my dear learners, if you notice any faults or mistakes in the middle of my video classes, please excuse me and pray to all my channel so that I can help you, I can serve you, I can cooperate you with my video classes throughout my life. So, my dear learners, no more today. Come to see you again with a new version of the new class. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.